All right. Happy Monday night. Hope you guys are doing well. Go ahead and jump into live this evening. Appreciate y'all hanging out. Run down a couple different things. So really kind of how I want to start off this evening is just going into some of the things that are about to happen. You have... I don't know if you guys follow Dario or not, but you might check his account out if you are following on Twitter. He posts a lot of good things there when it comes to reverse carry trade and a bunch of interesting things about liquidity, banking system, and what's going on. Need to be aware that a lot of the same signs that were flashing in 2008 before we had the crash then are flashing again now. The Fed's website went down again earlier today after the repo jumped up to billions of dollars being put out to supply somebody with liquidity. We have a migration from LIBOR to SOFR. Full implementation is going to be on the 2nd, but any contracts that are being rolled over the next 24 to 48 hours are all going to be affected by that. And so over the next couple of days here, that's going to be a big deal. I know a lot of people don't even know what that means, but basically LIBOR is like the banks call around to other banks and they can kind of fix the rates and be like, hey, I'll lend to you at this and you lend to me at that. And they kind of fix the rates. SOFR is, they can't do that. They can't fake it. And you're going to see the real rates that people are going to be willing to lend at. And it's not going to be pretty. There's going to be people that are fighting for air, looking for liquidity. I think you're going to see major insolvencies potentially within the next 5 to 7 days here. Huge problems potentially coming out of the transfer and migration that's about to take place. So already seeing things flash, signs not so good. Japanese stocks are up, Chinese stocks are up, trying to pull in liquidity. I haven't looked at the yen this evening in comparison to the US dollar. It's been hovering in the low 40s. If we get above, below, however you want to look at it, if the yen appreciates against the dollar quickly, you could see an unwinding with reverse carry trade. We've been talking about that for a long time. That will have huge implications for U.S. Treasuries and our markets here in the U.S. as people liquidate positions to swap for dollars, to swap for yen, to be able to repay those loans. There's about, I think there's way more than 10 trillion that's levered up. I could be wrong about that, but that's the number that's out there. I think that there's definitely more. LIBOR and SOFR also affects derivatives. So we'll see what ends up happening, but all right at the same time that we see the chart starting to move for XRP and XLM. XDC moved to 2.0 today. You've got all the fixes pushed for the mainnet for the XRPL. There's some other amendments that are being voted on. You've got digital identity and the Oracle for the mainnet that are up for vote. I think are in the low 20s. Digital identity, I think, was at 24. You need 28 before the 2-week waiting period starts for that. And then, anyway, I think we're just really close to a liquidity crisis at scale globally. And when and if, well, not if, but when that happens, I think we're going to see a lot of the things that we've been hoping for, for digital assets taking place very quickly on the backside of whatever event or catalyst unfolds. So just want to start with that tonight. I've been watching that all day. Exciting. but it's also kind of nerve-wracking because I do think there's going to be a problem. I think you're going to see banks be insolvent. I think that there's been the other indicator I was looking at earlier today. If you guys don't watch Game of Trades, they're going to migrate their branding to something else now. But they were talking about there's an indicator that shows retail buy-in, and then also the smart money getting out. And the smart money getting out is at the same levels that it was in 21 at the top of the stock market before we had 25% drawdown. So volatility is, I guess, the name of the game here. I think you're going to see a rotation from large cap stocks into the Russell 2000 and alts and stuff like that. I think Bitcoin could potentially continue a little bit higher. Not much. And then this is my opinion. I know everybody's shouting from the rooftop that we're going to 6 digits, $100,000 Bitcoin. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the wheels come off at about 75,000. I could be wrong. Would love to be wrong. I think a lot of people would be very happy if I was wrong on that, but we'll have to see how that shakes out. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and hop into the questions here. You guys always ask fantastic questions, and that's what Monday and Wednesday nights are about. So if you want to talk about macroeconomics or estate planning or investments of any kind, including digital assets in particular, obviously, then we will run it up. So appreciate you guys. Buckle in, and we'll get going. Ms. Sanchez says, Jake, when people say prepare your exit strategy before XRP skyrockets, what if I don't have an exit strategy? Because I don't plan on selling anytime soon. If I do, I'll only take a portion above 1K. I think, everybody's in a different position, right? So our objective at Digital Wealth Partners is to make sure that people have ways to be able to generate income and borrow against the asset and hold it in custody and have insurance and beneficiaries and all the wonderful things that come along with a qualified account and institutional custody. So would love to work with you if that makes sense, and be able to provide you liquidity against the asset itself at a reasonable interest rate, and so you don't have to liquidate your position, right? The whole banking concept is something that we are it's part of the ethos that we put together at Digital Wealth Partners, the insurance side of it, all those things. We have the capability to provide that. So, it's never wrong to take profit. I will say that. You never go broke taking profit, but at the same time, you may leave some on the table. I'm sure that there were plenty of people that sold Bitcoin at $100 that wish they had held on a little bit longer. So probably be the same thing with XRP. I'm sure that there will be people that sell at 10, 50, 100, 500, 1,000 that wish they didn't exit that position, and I'm sure it'll provide them liquidity here in the short term, but I don't think the dollar's going anywhere. I do think that it probably stabilizes in value over time. Hopefully they shore it up with a good backing, but at the same time, I think that XRP will continue to appreciate against the dollar. I don't want to say in perpetuity, but at least for the next 10 years is my thesis. So I think that's again, everybody has their own strategy, and whatever works best for you is what you should do for you and your family. Loyan. Hey, Jake, can you talk more about the yield strategy at DWP in the future? Do you have options to yield farm or stake? What's the percentage per year? Can an entity in the AUE or Europe join DWP? Lots of questions here, so I will take them one by one. The strategy that we currently use is covered calls and puts on the asset. Very low risk. We're able to generate a reasonable yield doing that as long as the assets trade sideways and there's not huge volatility. Want to make sure that we're able to, take a position or there's a market for the option if there is going to be a big move. So, that's always a consideration, but we work, our advisors work with people to make sure that they're mitigating those risks. Yield farming and staking depends on the asset. Had a conversation with the family office earlier today that has a significant allocation to Cardano. We did meet with Charles Hoskinson in Vegas earlier this year, talked to his family office. Should be able to facilitate a way that they can stake their Cardano in qualified custody, potentially borrow against it. Yield farming, it depends on the asset. So if you have yield farm or some other DeFi protocol, Compound or Aave, we can definitely facilitate, all of that stuff. If you got Solana, we can stake out of qualified custody. Working on ways to be able to do that with XDC. It's not something that's available yet, but it's definitely on the horizon. Just depends on the asset, I guess, is what I would say for yield farm and staking. The other benefit that I will say working with us, if you are receiving income off the assets in qualified custody, the two things that make it taxable are that you have dominion and control, and you have neither of those if you're working with us. So you are a signer on the account. We are a signer on the account, so you don't have full control, and you don't have custody of the assets. They're in qualified custody under our account in a vault that's got your name for it on it. It's an FBO account, or for the benefit of. So you don't have dominion or control. So therefore, any staking returns or yield farming that is, paid to that account, it's not taxable until you remove it, which is awesome. So that's our. We have a letter from CPA. So that's a cool part. Percent offered would vary wildly depending on the asset and what you were doing with it. As little as 3% all the way up to 10-12% potentially, depending on what the asset was and what you're doing with it. And we do work with international clients. I would say that I don't know, maybe 20% of our clients are international. In Europe, Canada, South America, Australia, Middle East, UAE. Happy to work with anybody in any of those jurisdictions. You will just have to go through KYC like you would, here domestic in the US. But as long as you pass, we're good. Just talked about this. I think it's going to have significant implications for liquidity in banks, and I think that it's potentially going to cause a liquidity crisis when they do make the transition over to SOFR, which is, I don't want to say what we want, but if you're positioned the right way, it'll be very lucrative for certain digital assets. Robbie, he says, off topic. Okay. But last week you mentioned medical advancements greatly increasing life expectancy. I did. Can you expand? What will be possible? When will it be possible? And where to find the details? So in a former life, Robbie, I was a competitive bodybuilder. And then toward the end, kind of pivoted toward like longevity and performance. Coached multiple people on all those things. Currently still supplement with a lot of things that increase cognitive ability and life expectancy to lengthen my telomeres and other things like that. I think that nanotechnology will come a long way in our lifetimes. I would look at a lot of that. Look at anti-aging protocols. Fasting has come into vogue. A lot of people do that. I like to implement a 24-hour on, 24-hour off fasting regimen for men that are looking to lose weight at a rapid pace and increase their life expectancy and energy. So, what does that look like? So you would eat dinner. I like dinner. It's a social meal with my family most of the time. I don't like missing that. I also don't like going to bed hungry. I have a hard time sleeping. My sleep's irregular. I don't sleep good if I haven't eaten. And so I prefer to eat dinner. You would then sleep. So let's say you ate dinner at 6 p.m. You don't eat again. You would fast through the night, and then you would just continue to fast until dinner the next day. On that diet, you would, not have a whole lot of carbohydrates. The only carbohydrates would be during the day when you are eating. So, dinner to dinner, fast, low carbohydrate meals for that. The next day, you start with breakfast. You would stay low carb for most of the day until you were going to go work out. When you go to work out, you would have a banana or sweet potato or an apple, something that had fructose, and hopefully a good micronutrient palette previous to training that would help you recover and give you some glucose to be able to train hard. And then you would go back to low carb post workout. Unless you're under 9 or 10% body fat, then you can consume fast digesting carbohydrates post workout, and your body would actually, you'd be very insulin sensitive and could actually put on an appreciable amount of muscle tissue pretty quickly. The longer you want to live, the smaller you want to be. You'll notice that like Great Danes and larger animals don't live as long. And so, I wouldn't say long distance running, but people that fast and stay lower body weight and have less stress tend to live longer. Less stress on your digestive tract also helps you live longer and heal. When you fast longer than 18 to 20 hours, you actually get into autophagy, and which means you break down malignant cells or proteins that aren't functioning correctly in your body. Oftentimes, these could be cancerous or other problematic cells. And so, maybe once a quarter, you could fast for 3 to 5 days would probably be beneficial. If you do come into some type of cancer, I'm not going to say I have the cure, because I don't, but you might look up fasting for that and just do some research on it. So 1933, somewhere in there was a gentleman that won the Nobel Prize for discovering that cancer cells can only live on sugar or glucose. They can't survive on ketones, they'll starve. So in a ketogenic environment, cancer cells cannot proliferate, and you also don't want to be acidic. If your blood pH, is on the acidic side, greater than 7.4, 4, you are more prone to get cancer. So anyway, I'm going on a rant here, but yeah, a lot of things down that path. If you take the time to research and you know where to look, there's definitely a lot of research and things that you can find out on the interwebs about all those things. And I do think that advancements in technology will continue to augment people's life expectancy over the long term. And I'm hopeful that the farming and a lot of the things that we're migrating toward to get rid of carcinogens. Glyphosate is horrible. It replaces glycine in your molecular structure and causes problems. And you really can't get away from glyphosate because of Monsanto at this point. It's in the air, it's in your food, it's in everything. So hopefully they figure out a way to eradicate that. But until then, I think we'll continue to see cancer abound. You guys didn't know that I knew nutrition and all that, did you? Let's see here. Back to the normal schedule programming. Jay Cole says, "Hey Jake, I finished getting my LLC set up through you guys. Awesome. 2 questions. Should I be listing my exchange wallet where I purchase? And how do I proceed with DCAing and capital contributions?" So you could set up an exchange wallet in the LLC's name. You would just, work with whoever that was, set up another account, migrate your assets over there, or you would list the cold wallets associated with, where your assets are being held. If you are holding them on an exchange, you're going to want to migrate over to an LLC account or an account at the exchange in the name of the LLC. If you are just continuing to DCA, you can buy from your personal bank account as long as the wallet address that the assets are moving to is in the name of the LLC, whether that's on the exchange or a cold wallet again that you've listed in the name of the LLC. Moving the assets from your personal exchange account into the wallet associated with the LLC would serve as a written consent or written action, because it's on a public blockchain and all of that's recorded. All you got to do is look at the transactions there for the wallet. So if you're in Zaman or what used to be Zum, it's pretty easy to look at those transactions. Same thing for Ledger. You can pull a report. Trezor, Decent is what we like, aside from institutional custody, just because it's so user friendly and you can pull a report easily there. That would be my recommendation for a cold wallet. And I think we have probably in the description of this video a link that you can go to for their product, which is good. So hopefully that answers your question. But if it didn't, please ask further down below and I will clarify. Todd, thank you, sir. Thank you so much for the super chat. He says, good evening. What will it take for banks, specifically U.S. banks, to start using XRP? Love the Mastermind group so much. Value. Awesome, brother. Glad to have you in there. It's great to see you at the event, and excited to have you as part of the group. See you in there all the time. Regulation. It's what it's going to take here in the U.S. In talking with some of our partners that work with institutions, they have mentioned that things are ready. Like they've built all the stuff that they need, but until they're given full clarity that I think once the lawsuit's over and we have stablecoin regs in place, it's game on for the institutions to use XRP and XLM, potentially XTC also. But by and large, I think XRP will probably, it will have the largest move out of those, in my opinion, and not financial advice. Hold on, give me 2 seconds here. Sorry, wife was calling me and just want to make sure she was not in trouble somewhere on the side of the road. That's going to be what it is. We're going to need stablecoin regulation here in the U.S., and then we will see, because there's a designation in there for bridge currencies, and I think at that point, it'll be very easy for people to settle between institutions, and their siloed networks over the mainnet using XRP. So, yeah, hopefully that answers your question. I know it wasn't as sexy as you probably wanted, but that's the real deal. Let's see here. Jesse, he says, what's an update timeline for onboarding completion and how soon after we'll be able to earn? Thanks for everything you do. Yeah, appreciate you asking this. I'm sure that there are other people that have the same questions. So we are actively onboarding people. Anchorage is finally creating accounts. We have some people moving their assets in there. We did some today. We'll continue to do that. And I've said this before, and I feel like a broken record on this, and I appreciate y'all's, grace and patience going through this process. There are no other firms like us. Zero. There's nobody else in the U.S. that is working with as many clients as we are to be able to manage their assets and provide solutions in qualified custody and orchestrate those partnerships. Because of that, the partners in the infrastructure that exists are lacking, for lack of a better term. They're not automated. To be able to download the documents and upload them where they need to go, it's a manual process still. Our partners are working on that at the TAMP that we're working with, which is on-ramp, securitized for advisors. They are, they didn't have the demand for it, right? So why would you build it until you actually had somebody that needed it at scale? But we do have about 140 people that we are onboarding over the next 2 weeks here. So that's kind of the time frame. You should be reached out to. You should have gone through KYC. You should have been able to sign all the forms that you needed to and pass those along. Those that are at standard custody that are being migrated, those that should also happen within the next 5 business days here. So it's been a long road to get things over and going, but it's finally starting to move, which I'm happy about. The earning piece, mid-October is the goal for that. Still refining those relationships and strategies. We will have Matt, who is our CIO, Matt Schneider, that wrote, pull it up here for you, this book, Warren Buffett and the Web3 World. He wrote this, authored it in 2023. Him and Steven, who's his partner. He's our chief investment officer that's putting together the strategies. He will be in the mastermind next Monday, talking through what all that looks like with all the perps that we use to be able to produce income for our clients. So covered calls and puts, what that means, how it's orchestrated, what the risks are, all those things. So if that's something you're interested in, you should just go ahead and join the mastermind group. If you're worried about cost or some of those things, you can try it out for a month for free. It is there's at checkout, you would just put in the discount code. I think it's Beyond Broke, all capitals, the number 1, MO like month. That's also capitalized, and that should give you a free month for Carbon One or the social membership. I would say that it's worth it just to try it out and get in there to listen to him if that's something you're interested in. If not to work with us, but for your own strategies, to be able to trade covered calls and puts. Not financial advice. He is a financial advisor. He's not your financial advisor. Same thing for me. If you're listening to this, this is not financial advice, but we're happy to help you out in that capacity if it's something you're interested in. So that's the time frame. Mid-October. Should have everybody onboarded at that point and ready to rock and roll. So good question, sir. Appreciate you. Gail. Hey, ma'am. She says, I want to go on the record asking for us seniors that us seniors get priority guidance after price appreciation. Yeah, you're not alone there, Gail. I've been extremely excited to see how many young ladies like yourself and people in your demographic have figured out how to buy digital assets and have a pretty significant allocation. I think that maybe my content resonates more with people that are maybe a bit more mature in their thinking. I would say our average client's probably 45 or older. They've got a pretty decent allocation to digital assets, and they believe that that's going to appreciate substantially. And so, like she says, seniors here, like I said, the majority of our clients, I don't think would qualify as seniors. They're not going to get the AARP points. But I would say on average, probably average clients, maybe, like 47 is probably the average age of people we work with. And I think that's great. So I don't know how we can give you're already in, Gail. So you'll get priority. But as things progress here, I don't want to say it's on a first come, first served basis, because everybody that's in the mastermind will get priority over those that are not. So again, if that's something you're interested in, you want to make sure that you're closer to the front of the line. If you don't have 100,000 yet, that's a great place to be. Atlantic Living, always good questions. Thank you for being here. They say, I listen to 4 very sharp guys every Monday on investment answers. I struggle to understand that none of them will discuss XRP. Will XRP be just as relevant as their coins? SUI, Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol? Um, I had a conversation today with a gentleman, very intelligent. There are people in this space that are not focused on utility-driven assets. Raw Paul is one of those. There's a lot of people that have figured out the cyclical pattern and the nature of this asset class that's worked up to this point. And so they take positions in things, they look at tokenomics, but at the core of how they view the market, it's still speculative. And they're not wrong. That is exactly how things currently work. I think we're on the precipice of that changing, and so I'm looking to the next portion of that, and I think they'll make that pivot once it happens. But until they're forced to, and they see the constraints within the market actually shift, I don't think that they are going to move over to utility-driven assets. I think that that'll be the next thing that's in vogue. I think we're just a bit early. The majority of the people that are privy to this conversation and watching, you're ahead of the curve. You're looking at things like HBAR. You're looking at things like XLM, XDC, XRP, VChain, Quant. There's lots of other ones as well that I think will do extremely well. Cardano potentially, if it can find its niche of what problem it's going to solve. The ones that you mentioned there, I don't know what's going to be built on them. They're not scalable. Solana goes down too frequently to have any enterprise solutions built on top of it. Ethereum costs too much and is too slow. Matic supplements that, right, as a layer 2. Polygon, but they were at Ripple Swell last year. I got to listen to their CEO talk. I think that they'll probably end up on the XRPL sidechain, the EVM sidechain. I think a lot of products and things that have been built out on Ethereum will eventually migrate over there. Things that are on Solana, I don't know. There's just a lot of garbage on Solana. Being honest, right? Like, I don't see a whole lot of utility-driven projects trying. I mean, there are some like treasuries that have been tokenized there, and people have tried to use it for real estate. But again, like, it settles faster, it's cheaper, but the network goes down for hours at a time. You can't, like, if so. As an example, we had what was the Microsoft program that went down the other day that caused massive outages and like pandemonium across the globe. Can't have that happen. Like, you have to have a secure network that has almost zero downtime. The XRPL never been down, not once. So Sui, I think it's new enough. We haven't seen what it can and can't do. A lot of people are talking about being a competitor to XRP. I can tell you it's definitely not. It's not trialed and tested and implemented at scale with institutions. It's not going to handle back-end settlement for the stock market or derivatives or the COMEX or anything like that. Peer-to-peer payments, sure. I think there'll be a couple different networks that end up being relevant for peer-to-peer payments. Bitcoin Cash may be one of those. You might see there's a couple other privacy networks like Monero and Zcash that may gain some adoption. Like, that makes sense. If you didn't want somebody to be able to see your transactions on a public blockchain and you wanted to be private with your transaction and what you were doing with somebody else, sure, I could see. Aleph Zero is another one of those. We know Matt Niemerg, great guy. He's extremely intelligent, PhD in mathematics. I think that there's probably like 75 networks that stick around long term that are used at scale and have real utility and get adopted for specific use cases. The 4 that you mentioned here, Bitcoin could stick around as digital gold. But the other 3, I really don't see. The EVM, the Ethereum Virtual Machine, absolutely. That's not going anywhere. There's so much that's been built using that with Python and Solidity and the smart contracts. That'll continue to be relevant. I just don't know that the Ethereum network maintains relevancy long term because it's not scalable. And I think that proof of work ends up being a security. Solana is delegated proof of stake. Sorry, Ethereum's proof of stake, not proof of work. It's pure proof of work, whereas Solana is delegated proof of stake. So, anyway, rambling on here. I don't know why they won't discuss those things. Again, I think at the core of their thesis, it's still speculation, and they'll likely pivot once they do see price appreciation in some of these other assets. Let's see. Atlantic Living also says, perplexed by people excited about XRP in 24 and 25, would it not make sense for people to just hold out for 3 or 4 digits adoption, or better sell in 25 as under $1 possible in 2026? XRP will not be under $1 in 2026. It won't be under $1. I shouldn't say for the rest of the year, but I'm going to. We'll see. I think here in Q4 you could see some pretty some of the things that you've mentioned here. 3 and 4 digits, I think, is a potential if we see back-end settlement for the stock market. If we get a liquidity crisis and Project Ion's used to settle the back end of the stock market to mitigate risks for unrealized losses, you get 3 and 4 digits XRP, probably 4-digit XRP right there. So I think that that's quite feasible if that scenario presents itself and it does get adopted. 2026, I think you could probably see high 4 digits. Beyond that, when derivatives get brought on chain and they're being settled, 10,000, right? And I don't know if that happens in 26 or 27, but that's my thesis. I think we're going to see exponential moves higher out of XRP over the next 3 years as it gets adopted. It's adopted at scale, and regulations are in place, like you mentioned. I think a lot of people will sell at 2 digits as soon as it goes, maybe even sooner. A lot of people have just been holding for so long on this deal and need liquidity for whatever reason to be able to pay off debts and things that they've accrued over the 7 years that this thing's been sideways. So again, never wrong to take profits, but at the same time, cost to benefit ratio, don't sell the golden goose, be all I say. Alfredo, hola! What's going on, man? He says, just wanted to say thank you for being a trailblazer. Appreciate you, brother. You and everything DWP and DAG are invaluable in paving the way for a bright future. Thank you. I can see all this stuff, and I feel crazy most of the time, especially talking to people that have no clue about it. Like, I have to stay very high level in most conversations that I have with people. I really do enjoy getting on here and having conversations with you guys because y'all get it and you ask really good questions, and I can dive a little bit deeper into some of the stuff that we're working on and kind of the longer term vision for what we're working to do. And no, thank you. I enjoy it. It's fun. It's frustrating at the same time. Bleeding edge often means you bleed a little bit while you're on the edge. It's I'm excited about it. I think that a lot of what we're doing I know that we are paving the way for other wealth managers and other people that are going to work with some of these partners because this doesn't exist. And people want it. Which is cool. It's great to have product market fit and be able to provide a service that people are excited about. Just super blessed. Thank you for the super chat and the kind words. Let's see here. Martin says, hola, how are you? I'm doing great. Blessed and highly favored. Thank you for being here. How do you identify a speculative rise versus a rise in utility? You've never seen a rise using utility yet. I can promise you that. Do you do it by the size of the price increase or by the speed of growth? Regards, the eclipse is coming. The eclipse is coming on, what is it, Wednesday, Thursday this week. It's also Hebrew New Year. Get on the woo-woo. I've never seen a utility-driven rise in an asset either. It's never existed. It's never happened. I believe that it will be very quick as liquidity pours into an asset to be able to provide liquidity for whatever transactions are needed. But you're still going to have to drive that in, right? So there's still going to have to be a mechanism for driving demand to be able to push price like that. In the scenario that Shane Ellis played out, there was liquidity crisis on exchanges, and just one exchange could potentially push the price of XRP up to $589. Again, back into the stock market to settle that, you would need 4 digits to be able to handle the volume there, to be able to settle those trades and transactions through the DTCC. You still need a mechanism to drive liquidity into that. I think that I think it would really be interesting. This probably isn't going to happen, but I'm going to throw it out there. Speak it into existence, right? We had the Bitcoin ETF get launched on January 10th of this year. It'd be great if we saw 10-1, which would be the inverse of that, XRP ETF get launched tomorrow. Come on, BlackRock. If you're listening, we'll see. Probably not. But I think that'll be the mechanism which they use to drive enough liquidity into that asset. And then once it starts settling transactions, then it'll hold price stability there. I don't think you'll get the large volatile swing. So I think that's going to be the indicator for you on whether something is speculative or if it's utility driven. I think the price on the other side of the appreciation is going to be much more stable. If there are transactions moving over the network that keep the price elevated, right? So you're not going to see this big up and down like most people are used to. And I think a lot of people will liquidate it in anticipation that you're going to see a pullback in some of these assets. I don't think we're going to get it this time. I think that once there's enough liquidity in them, you're going to see it go up and then move sideways. So if I was going to give you a difference between the two, that would be what it was. On the other side of utility, price would be stable at a high value. Man, good questions and stuff tonight. Let's see here. Thank you for being up so early or so late, whatever it is for you there in Ireland. It's 2:44 a.m. Golly. You can just watch this later, man. Like, thank you. Let's see here. Right on, Gail. I want some special kind of rights because I got gray hair. Just kidding. 14 million to 1 odds of being born. I'm just happy to be here. Absolutely, Bob. All very blessed. Oh, man. All right. Well, I'll put it up here for you, Matt. I don't know if you're watching or not, but if you haven't got a copy of this, it is a great read. It's snackable. You can just, when you're on the toilet, read a little bit. It's a good book to have for the bathroom. Let's see here. Roger says, big names announced today by Texas Stock Market Exchange, including Rick Perry. What will the exchange do for digital assets? I anticipate that it'll be tokenized. I think that they will have a tokenized stock exchange for the Texas Stock Exchange. I think I'm going to make a prediction here. I'm going to say that Dallas, Texas, where I live, becomes the financial hub for the U.S. within the next 3 years and pulls it away from New York. Again, take it with a grain of salt. I am biased. Lived here my whole life, native Texan. Pretty excited about this change of events here. And BlackRock and Citadel are big. Like they're not going to be doing anything that's chump change. So it'd be great if Ripple IPO'd on. I say IPO. I think it'll be a direct listing. Went public, I guess, would be the better term to use. If Ripple went public on a Texas stock exchange and had the largest public listing that's ever happened, I think they could potentially go public at a $100 billion valuation. The largest previous was Saudi Aramco at $59 billion. If you had got in at the IPO or the public listing for Saudi Aramco, you would still be up at 25x. At this point, I think it's like $2.6 trillion or something's current market cap. So I anticipate that Ripple will likely do something similar. I think that they will be the next Amazon type company. And even if you aren't in the, I can't say that. Well, let's talk about that. So there's some private investments in the Mastermind that we put together, and you could potentially get an allocation to maybe one of the companies that I just mentioned previously. If you were a member there of Carbon One, I can't publicly advertise any specific investments that we are running in the community. But if you want to learn more, again, just join the Mastermind Carbon One. You would be able to participate in the private investments that we do run there. So, Barbara says, looking like a college kid with that hair. It's coming in good, man. Thank you for noticing. I'm pretty excited about the results. We're like 3 months in here, and I really, this used to be way back here, and this side was the same way back here. Really thin. It's really thickened up. I'm really happy with it. If anybody, wants to go over to Turkey, Estemark is the clinic that we used. Did a fantastic job. Definitely would refer anybody there. It's like, I don't want to give pricing because I don't know if they've raised it. It was like $4,000 all in. So, you got to pay for your flight over there, but that covers hotel, procedure, all the stuff. Food, they took us around. It was great. Highly recommend people go to Istanbul at some point in their life. But beautiful, beautiful city, beautiful scenery, great people, Turkish coffee, and the candies and Turkish delight. It was great. There's also guys that are on the street that do like, flips and tricks with the ice cream cones. I don't know if, anyway, I would encourage you to go. It's good stuff. Let's see here. Vadim says, based on Gensler's track record, it seems pretty likely that the SEC will appeal. The SEC is not going to appeal. You can quote me on that. Go ahead and put it down. Jake says no appeal on the Ripple case from the SEC. If they do drag that mess out for another couple, no. They're not appealing. Just go ahead and chalk it up. Jake 1, SEC 0. No appeal by the SEC on the Ripple case. We got 5 days left here. No appeal. Let's see here. This is a good one by Jared. We did see the upgrade of the XDC network today. Max actually put out a video. If you guys didn't see that, that was pretty good. I think I reposted it there on Twitter. But if you haven't, go check that out. Max Avery. I think he's the real Max Avery on Twitter. Where do you see price of XDC going once it comes out? Well, hold up, wait a minute. I'll tell you. Where is XDC price? It's currently still 3 cents. So no impact for the upgrade of the network. You need utility. Again, I don't think you're going to see significant price appreciation on utility-driven assets until they're actually implemented. You're going to have to drive liquidity into them, so there may be speculation that does that. But I think you could see it go to like $1 to $3. I think that's reasonable. 100x from where it is now, I think is very feasible with the implementation of XDC at scale for trade finance, which is the main way that the main use case for that network. Andre Casterman and TradeFi. I got to listen to him speak last year at XDC in Austin. Trey Lloyd is putting together something here this month in Dubai. If people want to go check that out, it's like the weekend before the largest Web3 conference there in Dubai. That's another location. If you've got the money and the time, I would highly recommend go check out Dubai. I'll tell you all, just kind of a side tangent here. My mother-in-law watches the news just like every good mother-in-law does, and is very concerned for my safety when I travel outside the country. I have never felt safer than in Dubai. Like I feel less safe here in the US than I do in Dubai. There's no crime. And if there is crime, you just get locked away and they kill you, which Sharia law and the other things. You can think what you want about that, but I can tell you, like, a no tolerance, there was just no problems, period. Like, there was no littering. You could leave your phone in the middle of the mall and come back 2 hours later, it would still be sitting there. Nobody would steal it. Nobody would take it. Large groups of women walking around at night, not worried about anything, having a great time. I saw one police officer while I was there in Dubai, and he was helping somebody fix their tire on the side of the road. Like, that's it. So, I don't know how I got to that from XTC here, but highly encourage you, if you do have the time and the money, to go to Dubai. It's well worth it. But again, yeah, I think that we're going to see, somewhere between $1 and $3 this bull run or this cycle, once that gets implemented and used at scale. Bobo, he says, I think the burn rate for XRP was $5,000 per day. Who knows what it is now? How about potentially? I don't know what the current burn rate for XRP is. That was what it was when I calculated it a couple years ago. At that burn rate, I think it lasted like 100 years or something. It was actually longer than that. I think it was like 1,000 years, because there's 100 billion of them. Well, we'll do the math right now. Live for you guys here. We got, I have to turn it sideways because I can't fit all the zeros. 100 billion divided by 5,000. Yeah, it's 20 million days. So divide that by 365. Yeah, if it's just 5,000 a day that it burns, that's close to 55,000 years, 54,794.5 years that XRP would last with that burn rate per day. So not going anywhere anytime soon if that is the burn rate. And it's probably around that. I think that they could lower that depending on, and they would have to pass an amendment that would lower, the amount burned. But I think it's like 0.00000012 XRP per transaction. It's, less than a penny is the cost to send $1 million. So settles in seconds. Can't beat it. Not for payments anyway. Thank you on the memberships, Chadwick. Appreciate that. Let's see here. Living Legacy, always helping me out. Appreciate you, brother. He says, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe and share. If you do find this valuable, it does help the algorithm in the channel, and it is much appreciated. Scrolling on down here. You guys are awesome with the questions. Luxembourg. You guys are awesome, man. People all over the world tune in for this, no matter what time of day it is. We got Aussies on here. We have people in South America, Portugal, Peru, Brazil, people from all over, which I'm blown away that people take the time out of their day to listen to this, and just super blessed and grateful. Edward, hey brother, he says, I have a question. Do you think that it would be wise to buy silver when it moves, buy more XRP? Sell silver when it moves and buy more XRP? I'm not sure if that's what you meant. I guess the question is, do you believe silver will move before XRP? Timing of anything is not my strong suit, just transparently. I can guess, I have inklings. There's things that I have conversations with people about for XRP in particular that lead me to believe that we are on the precipice of things moving. But again, that requires catalysts and other things to take place. Silver's hard. I have an allocation, a small allocation to silver in my emergency fund. I don't think that silver is going to have the move that a lot of people hope that it's going to have. I could be wrong. I would love to be wrong. I have clients that hold large amounts of silver because they do anticipate that. Silver and gold are for holding your value of your whatever you invested them at, right? In comparison to the dollar. So if we see silver skyrocket, it's because the dollar is getting devalued substantially, which could definitely happen. They're going to shore it up. They have the assets to do it here in the U.S. So the other there's a lot of implications if silver has a $500 price tag per ounce. Okay, like you're not using that in solar panels anymore. You're not using that in a lot of electronics anymore. Your phone goes from being $1,000 to $2,000. I don't think you want that, personally. I think a lot of JP Morgan's income potentially comes from spoofing silver to keep the value low, so that people can, continue to buy it up and use it at scale in production for specific goods that we purchase on a daily basis. And I'm cool with that. I'm glad that I think $30, I don't want to say is a fair price for silver. Really, silver should be much more expensive. It should be. But that has other implications, right? So just be cognizant of that. You might see, it's the only asset that's down from its all-time high in the 80s still. It's $50. That was the Hunt brothers, though. They had cornered the market. So what should it have gone to? Maybe we're back at all-time high right now for what silver really should have gone to back in the 80s. I could see that. Similar to gold. Gold's already made new all-time high. It's 2650, almost 2700. I don't remember who just moved their forecast. I think Goldman moved their forecast, or Sydney moved their forecast to 2,900 per ounce for gold in 2025. I could believe that. I don't know that things are going to get revalued like people want them to. I think that the currency is going to get revalued in comparison to a lot of these hard commodities, would be my best guess. And there'll be a conversion rate from the old currency to the new one when they do instate that, whatever it's going to be. Still be the dollar. It'll just be legitimized and backed, which will be great for the average person. Actually be able to save something and keep your money in something it'll be money and not currency. Anyway, no. If you pin me to the wall and ask this question, I would say no. Silver's not going to move before XRP. Don't threaten me with a good time, Victor. He says, put your conspiracy hat on. Do you think, oh boy, he asked about Diddy, that the Diddy case is being focused on to distract the masses from what's really going on, and as the new financial system is coming in? There's always look over here, don't look over here going on. I think the Diddy case matters for sure. I think the child trafficking and human trafficking is a big problem. I'm hopeful that a lot of that goes away. I think that things are going to change. I think that Epstein and a lot of that stuff may end up getting aired out, which I think would be great. I think the public wants to know at this point what's actually been going on in Hollywood and what's all these celebrities and all that. So is it to distract from other stuff? Probably so. But at the same time, if you're watching this and you're paying attention, you're going to be fine. Like I mentioned, my mother-in-law, she watches the news. Most people that are, north of 50 years old still watch the news every evening. I can't do it. I would lose my mind. I can't continually ingest just bad news after bad news all the time and not hate my life. So I'm very cognizant of what I consume on a daily basis and what I'm reviewing. And I try to watch things that are motivational and uplifting, and I'm learning things from. I don't listen to the radio. Haven't listened to the radio in 4 or 5 years now. It's been a long time since. I'm not hip at all. I don't know what pop culture is. I don't know what artists are relevant. I have no clue. Same thing for sports. I'm lame. I don't watch football. If my buddies want to, we'll go to a game. But it's not anything that I intentionally spend my time on. Other people spend their whole weekend, and if there's fantasy league and all that, I don't do any of that. But anyway, I think there is a potential that it's being used to distract people from what's really going on, but also at the same time, I do think that it's relevant to the long-term storyline that we're on, if I put my conspiracy hat on. Let's see here. Let's scroll on down. Thank you for the super chat. Honest Name, he says, thanks for all you do, you and your team, and for us in the Mastermind. Connor posted that today is the last day for a donation to John Deaton. Not sure, but hope everyone that wants to donate to him donates to him today. Yeah, so just so you guys know, you got a couple more hours. Well, he's on the East Coast, maybe one more hour to donate to John and his campaign. I do think that he has a really good potential to beat Senator Warren there for, I think it's Massachusetts. Is it Maryland or Massachusetts? Anyway, one of those two. It's an M state. I should probably know that. Apologize. But geography is not my thing. I'm really good at a lot of things, or 3 or 4 things, and geography is not one of them. So anyway, I would encourage you to go do that. If you do feel so inclined to donate to John and his campaign, I do think that he could use it. He needs help, and I think he will, champion crypto and be a good senator there in that state. So excited for him, and look forward to him beating Warren. And again, appreciate you on the super chat, brother. And seeing both you guys at the event last week was great. Was that last week or the week before? I think it was the week before. We did have our event picked up by CoinMarketCap and Bazinga and a few other people. We posted that and put that out there, which was great. Really enjoyed the event, hosting family offices here in Dallas and talking about institutional services for digital assets. Really just great time. We're going to do another one. We'll have another one in April next year. So get your money up. We'll get a lot of people at that one. I don't know if the event venue that we had this time will support how many people want to come next time. Maybe we'll make it a little bit more exclusive. So hopefully we can see you guys there. Hey Jake, I heard some say, if possible, set up outside the U.S. if someone has residency in both U.S. and Mexico so far. Which would you recommend and why? Thanks, my friend. DAG Team Rocks. Thank you, brother. I'm going to give you my lawyer answer, and the answer is it depends. Where are you going to live? That's really what it's going to depend on over the long term is where you want to spend most of your time. Do you want to spend most of your time in Mexico, or do you want to spend most of your time in the U.S.? Do you want to be half and half? Do you want to hold a portion of your assets there and a portion of your assets here? What benefits would that provide you, right? So a lot of different considerations in both of those things. Me personally, I would probably prefer the U.S. over Mexico, but again, I don't plan on spending much time there, and I don't have family in Mexico, so that's just me. But I'm not you, so happy to connect you with our attorneys there in Mexico if that's of interest to you to have that conversation, and our attorneys here in the U.S. And between the two, I'm sure you can work out, what's the best solution for yourself. Sorry, I don't have like a this is what you should do on this. I'm sure that's probably what you're looking for, but yeah, I'd be doing you a disservice if I told you specifically one or the other without knowing the full context of your situation. Let's see here. I'll go on down, all the way down to the bottom here. We got somebody from Thailand in here. This awesome. You guys are awesome. Let's see here. K Moore says Solana ain't the answer. It's only used for VCs to pump and make money. The network stays down more than McDonald's ice cream. Ooh, man. I thought it was the ice cream machine at what's the Mexican restaurant? But anyway, Jalapeno Tree here in Texas, they have a ice cream machine and it's always down. This is interesting. Crypto Futures got some price prediction for us. Let's see here. He says ADA $10. Okay, all right. I mean, maybe if I could see these if we had a speculative run. XRP is not getting to $16 on speculation. I'll tell you that. That's not going to happen. The only way it gets to that price is utility. XDC, same way. Only way it gets to that price is utility. Same thing for Casper. He also didn't give a time for these price predictions. He didn't say if it was this cycle or the next 10 years or if these are the tops or what he's got. So I need more context around these crypto future to give my 2 cents on them. I like an $8 H bar. I think that's I could see that. VeChain, I think that's reasonable for both those for this cycle potentially. Casper, I think, is a bit ambitious. ADA, I could see that this cycle. I mean, it was like almost $2 last. It was $2 last cycle. I think you could get to $10 on this go for sure. Maybe higher than that if it was a speculative bull run. XRP much higher this cycle than that. In my opinion, just my opinion. AVAX, man, $500. I may say that it's like, what is AVAX right now? I don't even know. 27, 28. Okay. Yeah. All right. 500. I could see that this cycle. And then Fetch ASI, that's the AI play. $20. Yeah. Okay. I mean, a lot of these are really reasonable. I think XDC would require utility to get to that price. XRP also would require utility, and I think could go much higher than the 16 that you put here. But for the rest of them, I think those are very reasonable. Let's see here. Zerps Pirate, I like the name, says, if you have the time and money to go to Turkey, then you should definitely go. I have the time, but XRP and XLM, etc. has my money. Kind of like being married. Yeah. Well, what was our cost on our plane ride? We flew Emirates, we went into Doha and then turned back around. I wouldn't recommend doing that. It's a long flight. I really love Emirates if you are going to fly international. But I think a direct flight to Turkey would probably have been a bit faster, maybe like 10 hours. It was like 14 hours one way, flying into Doha and then back up. And you went over Turkey and then back. It just seemed counterproductive. So, but if you haven't flown Emirates, yeah, awesome. Great airline. For them to get all the bonuses that they got this last quarter, completely makes sense to me. They crush it. Harris won. That's what I'm going to say. Hope you're doing well. I am. Thank you for the kind words. Do you see institutional adoption? Yes. Your domino theory be affected by SEC appeal? No. I know you said that the chances are low, but what if? Nope. I'm going to say 100% chance, no appeal. We'll see. That's just my opinion. We got 6 days to see, but I'm extremely confident at this point that there's no appeal. Here you go. The 2 boxes says definitely no appeal. Congress is all over their butt right now after the SEC conduct being possible, even illegal with respect to making up terms like digital asset securities. They specifically named the Ripple case many times. Yeah, they got chewed in Congress last Tuesday. Danny Weatherman, he says, good evening, sir. What are your thoughts on ROUSD launch? Exciting. I would second that. Very exciting. You need liquidity on a network, right? So USDC being on Ethereum, having liquidity pools there in pairs, along with DeFi, has driven a lot of adoption in that ecosystem. I think that you would get the same on the XRPL with smart contracts that are native to the network from hooks, and then also on the EVM sidechain and the interoperability between that and the mainnet via Axelar. I think that stable coins being issued on the XRPL is extremely bullish for liquidity moving on to the XRPL and into XRP to be able to facilitate liquidity pools with those, AMMs with those, and other transactions. And I think the RLUSD is just the start of that. Shannon Hondo, she says, "Hola, hey ma'am, greetings from Dallas. I'm not far from you. I'm 49 and I got into crypto about a month ago. Good for you, and have some XRP and HBAR. Awesome. What should my next move be? More XRP or another crypto? Thanks a million." Shannon, I can't give you financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing said here is financial advice. If you want financial advice, I can send you to Mikkel, and Mikkel can tell you what you should do. He would, if I sent you to Mikkel, he would probably tell you to buy more XRP. And he can do that because he's a financial advisor. I can't. So I can pass you off to him and he can have that conversation with you. I can tell you how I'm positioned, and I don't own anything other than XRP. I know I sound like a maxi saying that. I will just state what I told a gentleman earlier today who was in SUI and Caspa and all these other things that have great tokenomics and are going to go to the moon in this cycle, and he's going to make millions of dollars. And he very well might. I don't know that he's not. He had very great justifications and thoughts and analysis around all those tokens. Warren Buffett talks about diversification is a hedge against ignorance. And he's correct. If you don't know absolutely for sure what's going to happen in a market, you should diversify, because then you're hedged. One of those is going to hit, right? But if you've done your research and you know what is going to be implemented at scale and drive the utility bull run, and which institutions are going to be using certain digital assets, XRP in particular, then why would I own anything else, right? And it's not to say it's wrong to own anything else. I think that everybody should have their own strategy. It's just my thesis and my biases, so take it with a grain of salt. Again, nothing's meant to be financial advice, but I think there's a day not too far in the future where it's going to be very difficult to even get your hands on XRP. I think that institutions and enterprises will hold it on their balance sheet. I think it'll be given a designation as a tier 1 asset by the BIS. And I don't think that exchanges will just readily be selling XRP to retail investors. I think that that's true for a couple different assets, but XRP in particular, I think the only way that the majority of retail or most investors will get access to it will be through structured products like Grayscale's Trust or ETFs or the ETP in Europe or other funds that hold an allocation. I don't anticipate that it will just be readily available to be swapped in and out of like it is today on exchanges. The DEX, you'll still have that capability if you're operating in that capacity and you're a financial institution and you're regulated and have all the other bells and whistles and licenses that you need to be able to do that. But for the average person, I think it's going to be hard to find on the other side of price appreciation and utility. So for me, that's why I think, I don't say gobbling up, but for lack of a better term, gobbling up as much as you can in the short term here. And HBAR may be the same way. I just think that it's a little further out on HBAR than XRP. So just my 2 cents. Not financial advice. You do you make your own financial decisions. Please don't sue me. Again, if you want to have a conversation with Mikkel or another one of our advisors, I'm happy to orchestrate that. So thank you for your question and appreciate you being here. Angus, he says, thoughts on announcements at Ripple Swell, opinion if SEC appeal or no. Man, you guys are concerned about this appeal that's not going to happen. I don't know. I think this Ripple Swell is going to be really special. I think that we're going to have some price appreciation between now and then. I'm hopeful for. And if that's the case, obviously the case will be completely over at that point. That's the 15th and 16th of this month. I will be in attendance, so I will report back on what any special announcements are there at Ripple Swell. But ROUSD, if they were going to launch it sometime, that'd be a cool time to do it. If they were going to advocate for hooks being moved over to the mainnet and proposing an amendment for that, that would be super cool. Codius, also super cool. I don't know if that's going to be what it is or not. Probably not. But any one of those, I think, could be an announcement at Ripple Swell. It's in Miami this year. And to your second question, not worried about the appeal. Hey, Australian. Awesome. She says, love your Aussie business hours. Would you mind commenting on your thoughts on how China's economics, US dollar, $254 bill, $2 trillion, wow, will affect the global economy? Man, that is absurd that they have a denomination that is that high, or that their currency is worth so little. That's kind of sad. Surely they're going to shore that up. I wish we had large denominated bills still. I think that'd be cool. I go to museums and I watch Pawn Stars occasionally, not very often, but every once in a while. And sometimes they'll have like old currency on there, and they'll have notes and bills that are like $1,000 bill or a $10,000 bill. And then I see, like Zimbabwe, they've got like a $1 trillion note or whatever they had. It was something crazy because their money's worth so little, which is sad. I don't know. I don't think it's going to have a huge impact on the economy. I think that there's going to be a revaluation of currencies globally in the next 12 months. And when that happens, I think a lot of the denominations that currently exist may change. The rupee in India, I think they got rid of almost everything. I think it's only like the 50 and lower there. Here, domestic in the U.S., we have a $100 bill and lower. I think that cash will continue to just be less and less frequently used, especially as we move into a digital age where people are able to pay with their phone or with their hand or their face. In China, like you just walk in, it scans your face and pick whatever you want in the store, and it charges your bank account. Some people are upset about that. I think it's cool. Like if you go into the airport and you go to the Amazon, just walk in there and like pick up your stuff and like walk out. I don't have a problem with that personally. It's still me. It's still biometrically me. Nobody else can. You can't steal my money and use it, right? So I don't know. Is it the mark of the beast? Is people get into the religious stuff? I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I think in the next 12 months, we're going to have a currency revaluation for everything, every country globally. And at that point, things will be rectified and changed, and a lot of the denominations will be removed. And over time, I think all cash probably ends up being removed. Let's see here. Scotty Steak and Eggs. Very interesting name. He said, "What's up? Just joined the Discord. Whoop whoop. Glad to have you in there. I heard you give out Connor's email. I contacted him, and I'm going to try to set up a call tomorrow." Very cool. Glad to have you in there. Connor's in there. We do have a lot of really cool people in the Mastermind community. Again, if that's something that you guys want to be a part of, we are going to lock it down. So I've said this before. I'm going to say it again for people that may be new here. For about 30 days after price appreciation, we will not be accepting new members. We will keep it to the people that are currently in there. Prices for members that are currently in there will stay the same. So all the price tiers don't move. If you're in there now, you're good to go. So even if you use the free code, use Beyond Broke, all capitalized, the number 1 MO capital, you're in there for free. Get your first month for free. You're locked in on that pricing. It's not going anywhere. On the other side of that 30-day period, we will open it back up to enrollment. All the prices will be 10x. So it'll go from $25 at the social membership to $250. Carbon 1 will move to $1,000 a month. Carbon 2 will move to $2,500 a month, and Carbon 3 will move to $25,000 a month. So anyway, not trying to like drive FOMO or any of that. I want to be cognizant of the community's culture and the integrity of the people there and protect them. We've already had some issues with people impersonating me on Discord. And I want to say this publicly. If you do join the Discord, if you get a message from me, it's not me. I don't message you. I don't message anyone. The only time I reply to messages is if you message me. If you message me in Discord, I will answer you. I do not seek people out. I don't message you when you come in there. It's a scammer. There's scammers out there that are impersonating me, that are targeting people in our community. Do not answer anything that comes from me. I'm not going to message you. The only time, again, that I will respond or communicate with you through Discord is if you message me, and then I will respond. But anything coming from somebody that looks like me is not me. So just want to make that clear for people that are coming on board. Don't expect anything from me. I'm in the group. I will comment if you say something and tag me. I will comment in the group chat. I will respond to you there. And if you message me directly, then I will respond to that. But I'm not going to be reaching out to you. So excited to have people like Scotty here in the community. And I look forward to continue to grow that and the investments there and everything on the other side of price appreciation. We are running on about an hour and a half here, so I'm going to try to keep it light, tight, and bright so that people can listen back to it later on. Probably take 2 or 3 more questions here, and then we will wrap it up for the evening. Let's see here. Banks will use QR codes for easier payments. I agree. I think that COVID pushed the narrative for QR codes forward pretty substantially. Wow. K Moore, dude. Thank you for the wow. Thank you for the $58.90. Unbelievable. Appreciate you. Shout out to you, Jake, for all the value you've given. And you're right. Solana network stays down more than McDonald's ice cream machine. The networks have already been chosen. The month of October will be very interesting. I would agree, brother. Thank you again for the super chat and the support. Excited to have you there in the community with us and for everything on the other side of price appreciation. It's going to be a fun run, man. A lot of people are looking forward to kind of settling down and slowing down on the other side of price appreciation. That's where the work really begins for me and my team. I think a lot of people have made sacrifices over the past 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, however long you've been holding, waiting, hoping, believing that one day you are going to come into a significant amount of wealth and you are going to be able to retire and enjoy life. And maybe you've postponed that. Don't on the other side. Okay. When you have the money, be mature about it, and make sure that you're being calculated in the way that you structure things, and don't go hog wild, but at the same time, like, cut loose a little bit and, go on those vacations, enjoy time with your family. Take the time out, take the pictures. I'm bad about that. I go do things and spend time, and I would say that's probably one of the regrets I have, is not taking more pictures. Just on different trips and events that I've been on. I remember those things. My son's young, and I'm hopeful that he does too. He's old enough now that he'll probably remember a lot of it. But don't on the other side of it, don't be a miser. Be a giver. Help other people. The more that you put out, the more value that you put out in the world, the more it comes back to you. So that'd be my message. If you didn't hear anything else tonight, that's probably a good way to end it. Trying to see if we do have. Golly, okay, Clutch. I can't. Man, thank you for the super chat, brother. If you ever got a new hairline, you've been talking real greasy with a not so distant future. We adopt everything, redoing, keep up the great work. Thank you, Clutch. Thank you for the super chat and the kind words. Like I said, I'm super blessed. It's coming in good, and hopefully now I don't go ball back here. I have to go back and get that done. But no, thank you for the thank you guys for the support and taking the time out to listen to this and asking great questions and being part of this community. I couldn't imagine being in any other place. Super grateful for everybody here and the mastermind and the community there. Again, just want to make sure that everybody's taken care of to the best of my ability and our team's ability. So thank you all for the support, and look forward to working with everybody on the other side when we do get blessed. So with that, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Appreciate you guys. I hope you have a wonderful evening, a wonderful week. We will be back Wednesday at the same time, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. And until then, God bless, and we'll see you on the next one.